So hello and welcome to another episode of Living the Small Business Life. And today, in a little bit of a break, well, we have got a guest, but we have our cameraman, Wes.
Yay.
Hi, Wes. Welcome. Thank you. But actually, I think we should probably do a better intro, which is we have Wes Venn, who is works at Red Rascal Creative, and you also have other businesses as well. So as well as being our cameraman, you do have multiple small businesses, which is why we've got you on today.
I am. I'm a media mutt. That's the way I've described myself these days. I do lots of bits of everything.
Cool. So do you want to give us a roundup of the small businesses that you currently run?
Yeah. So small business I run a greetings card company called Buddy Fernandez Greeting Cards, which is all about naughty greetings cards. So don't look it up if you no, look it up, but don't just be like, don't judge. That's what
a bit not safe for work.
The kids go, "Mummy, what's it?" We don't. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So we've been doing that with my business partner Lee, who ironically is now behind the camera. So
who's now our cameraman. Hi, Lee.
So yeah, we've been doing that for best part of 10 years now. And then alongside that, I was working on the radio. So radio presenter for 20 odd years. Why you lucky?
So you're used to being behind the mic.
I am, yeah. Normally I'll put my radio voice on the button. Good to see you. Travel next. So I was doing that, and then we were running Buddy Fernandez as a sideline. And then COVID hit, and the radio station I was working at got bought out. So I went full time with the greetings cards, and then they went, "Do you know, we're going to close those greeting card shops." And I went, it's going to be a trying time. It's going to be interesting Christmas, Tiny Tim. So it was one of those. So yeah, I ended up doing some other stuff, but we started Red Rascal Creative just as a little bit of a sideline, because I had some previous clients from the radio station said, "Can you do radio adverts?" I went, "Yeah, sure, I'll give that a go." And then, "Can you do videos?" Because I used to do corporate videos.
What type of radio adverts? Because you've got one of those voices.
Also,
that's a whole other one as well.
So I think you're referencing Calgon. Yuck, lime scale. Yuck. Yeah, so I do voiceover work as well, and I've ended up doing the Calgon adverts, which is fine, and I don't mind, it's great. But I was getting a Chinese, and this old boy, he goes, "Where's are you on a Calgon advert, mate? All day, I'm on site and all this lime scale, yuck." Famous for lime scale, which is always what I pictured my future to be.
Yeah.
So we started Red Rascal Creative as a little sideline when everything else was sort of on hold with COVID, and then just carried on doing videos and graphic promos and radio adverts. And I think the thing is, lucky timing, I suppose, in that more and more people are using multiple platforms now to advertise. And so, whereas before, to make a TV advert or something, well, you had to buy the TV airtime, which cost people a fortune. And now, you put it on YouTube, you put it on LinkedIn, you put it on your websites and stuff like that. So there's a need of content, a level of professional content out there, rather than nothing. There's not that there's anything wrong with it. People get in their mobile phone and go, "Right, that'll do." But then there's sort of the next step up before you go to productions and runners and stuff. And we fit that little niche where it's professional, quick, but affordable. And because of the different platforms that are available to people now, we've sort of gone and then video podcasts. So which is always good. I love them. So that's sort of how I've ended up doing what I'm doing now. There's sort of a multiple things, but just by saying yes. Someone said, "Do you want to do it?" "Yeah, fine, we'll give it a go." And I think that is, after filming with you guys, it's been lovely hearing other people and your guests come on, and almost the sort of general feel is people just went, "Yeah, we'll give it a go." Fake it till you make it. I know it was a brilliant quote from one of the ladies from the logistics firm.
More Driver Solutions?
More Driver Solutions.
Yeah.
They were brilliant, and they were talking about fake it till you make it. Going into something and just go, yeah, and then figuring it out. And actually you realise the more and more you do it, that you become an expert relatively quickly when you need to become an expert relatively quickly. And as long as you can blag your way through it.
When you get dumped into the situation, you learn quickly.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what we've done. We knew the fundamentals, but it's moving so fast. So, can you do a graphic promo? Can you do photography? Yep. Lens caps on. And you sort of learn. So that's
absolutely, because that's how you came to be our cameraman. So I was at a local community event in Leighton Buzzard, popped into my friend's shop. I was out the back, and you were there with all this equipment, and I was like, Wes, I thought you did cards. Like, do you do this? And you were like, yeah. I was like, we need to have a chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's very much that kind of sort of adapting. Is there a way that you prioritize particular businesses or the things that you do, or is it just whatever's coming through the door?
Do you know what? Actually, I was another interesting one. We spoke to Jo on one of the recent podcasts, and she was brilliant. And she was talking about burnout. And it's funny when on that side of the camera, I'm going, I'm learning, and it's really nice to hear other people's business journeys. And she was talking about burnout, and I'm going, I think I might nearly be there on that, because I do prioritise, but I juggle. I've become a very, very good juggler, but that juggling involves me working till 10 o'clock at night. So I don't say no, and I just go, yeah, and I just sort of figure it out. So I'm still working on the radio, so I've got radio shows that are daily radio shows that I have to do. So you have to kind of do them, which is a bit awkward. He's not here. Don't worry about it. And the audience are probably like, thank the Lords, he's not here. We'll have something else. But other than that, the rest of the stuff, I just try and prioritise it and sort of fit it round. It's really, it is quite hard just to, because it's not about the money. You don't go, well, I need, but you just have to try and figure out how long something's going to take you. So, for example, one of these podcasts, day of filming, and then a good couple of days editing. And so you go, right, well, I know I need to do that, but then I can also fit in like an hour's worth of this, and it's the juggle is that's probably been the best lesson for me the last couple of years, I would say.
Do you think that's your biggest challenge, running small businesses, or is there something else?
Juggling, yeah, I suppose it depends on the different where you are in the small business journey, but because at the start, you know, I mean, you go, oh, I'm too busy, as if you're ever going to complain about that at the start. But then when you're trying to figure out, okay, we've got this sort of about stable, how do I make this continuous? How do I, how do I create a business model that's just going to work and work and work, and that you become too busy in that, and you can't have enough time to think about the future and what that looks. So it's it's really tricky, because at the start you were never going to complain about being too busy. Like when me and Lee started the greetings card company, a day where we got 2 orders, we're like, oh, we're so busy, and then there are other
Quick, get the printer fired up.
Let's go to the pub and celebrate. That was the problem. Let's blow the cash as it come in. Let's blow it. But now, you know, it's trying to go, right, okay, we've got that, but we also need to get more because the business has got bigger, and do you know what I mean? Your overheads, and I remember one of your phrases, you were running hot when you first started. And, you know, that thing where you're spending out as much as you're earning and stuff like that. But at the beginning, you know, that's great. But then to create stability going forward, I suppose you've got to change that model slightly, because otherwise, you know, something happens and you're running hot and you're done. You know what I mean? Whereas actually the stability sort of element of it. God, I talk around that like a politician. There was no answer.
No, that's fine. So the greeting card company.
Yes.
So where are your greeting cards?
Well, do you know what? We've been all over the place. So predominantly, I mean, we're on the Moon Pig, we're on Funky Pigeon, we're on Thoughtful. So we're on the royalty-based stuff, which has been more recent, actually. Yeah. But we're also in Scribbler, which is quite a big, that's sort of our big independent company. I suppose they've got 52 stores. Lots of independents as well. But we were in Tesco's, which was for a little while, which was interesting.
And why are you not in Tesco's, Wes? Would you
I feel like we may have rehearsed this story.
We did not rehearse this story.
This anecdote. Well, the thing is, right, we were in Tesco's for like 2 designs, and the buyer picks them. We don't go, well, you can have those 2, you can't have any of the others. The others are too naughty for you. They went along and picked them. And so they picked 2 designs, one of which was, I can't believe you pulled through, I was going to have a crack at your missus, which is a get well card, right? Which, when they picked us, I was like, are you sure? I think that's a typo. And you know, they sold it for a while, and then surprise, they got a complaint about it, which I was like, yeah,
surprise,
brilliant. I thought you might. And the next one was it's like a 40 sort of thing. It says time for midlife. No, what was it? Was it midlife crisis card? It was time to buy a Porsche and have an affair. That was it. Time to buy a Porsche and have an affair. That was it. Which I was like, it's all right. It's not, you know, it's not the best thing in the world.
That's the dumb thing at 40 anyway.
I mean, actually, those Porsche keys I see over there.
No.
But then they got a complaint about that. So we get a complaint about. They got a complaint from a Christian group that said it encouraged affairs, and so we were like, Really? I mean, I always live my life. I pick up a card in Clinton's quite often and go, oh, you know what I'm going to do? Oh.
Well, you should be getting some royalties off Porsche, because obviously you've increased Porsche sales by putting a card on,
Yeah,
on a shelf.
absolutely.
But the thing is, with Tesco's, it was, they're allowed one complaint per design and they get rid of them. But in fairness, we discovered we were delighted when that deal ended.
So here's another question for you then. How on earth did you break through the doors of the mighty Tesco's to get your card in there, on their shelves?
The ridiculous thing is we don't really know. So myself and Lee, we used to go in my Bedford Rascal up to the trade shows in Birmingham NEC. So we go up there, which is just one of the most soul-destroying things you'll ever do. You ever been to a trade show?
Yeah.
No.
Awful, aren't they? You're literally there going, meh. They walk past going, no. You're like, oh, maybe it's just me. I know. And you feel so thirsty the whole time. You go, hello, how are you? Are you all right? And they go, yes, no, I'm very important. I'm a buyer. I've been doing the job nearly 2 weeks. You're like, oh, flipping it. All right, fair enough. But so, yeah, somebody just saw us there and then just went, oh, yeah, no, we quite like that. We want a couple of rude cards, and they just approached. So that was through the trade shows. And I think we were in Sainsbury's as well. We were in Sainsbury's. Yeah, look at it, Lee. We're in Sainsbury's as well. So we've been
Still
in
in Sainsbury's, or have you had complaints?
No, that's gone. That's gone.
What did you write this time?
But they're really interesting because when you start a business like that, selling, that sort of thing, you go, oh, I want to be in with the big guys. You don't. I promise you do not, because they, without being too litigious, they're not great to deal with. You are one of thousands of card designers. You're one of thousands of product, providers, and it's on their terms. The whole thing is on their terms. The price is on their terms. The delivery is on their terms. If you don't sell them, so for occasions in cards, so you've got Mother's Day, Father's Day, stuff like that. They have a burn, or was it return or burn? So basically, if you give them a load of cards, and this is for a lot of the guys, if you give them a load of cards and they don't sell them, you either have to pay to pick them back up or they burn them, but they'll charge you either way for getting rid of them or you.
Nice.
So it's always a winner, because you go, oh, I've got to get in Tesco's. But it's a really, really interesting thing. So we go, I talk to people at these trade shows and go, oh, whereabouts are you? It's the same question I say, well, we're in Independence, we're doing this, doing that. And sometimes if you can see them losing them, we go, oh, we're in Tesco's. Oh, really, you're in Tesco's? And for them, it's like, well, we're in Tesco's, they must be good. And actually, if you want to go, oh, let me tell you about the experience, and then they'd realise that...
Yeah, we shipped them 10,000, we sold 500, and they burnt 9,500.
Yeah, but it's just really weird. And I think that's maybe it's an age thing, it's also an experience thing. 10 years into the card, I look at the independents and go, I love you guys. You're great to deal with your interest and you'll take risks. Whereas buyers particularly, I find that buyers, they're not buying because of what they think will sell. They're buying on what they think they're not going to get told off by their manager for. And that's why products nowadays on high streets are very, very safe in the big stores. That's why I think independents will do better. Because they'll go, look, I'm going to buy 100 of these, we'll give it a go. Whereas the buyers go, I've got to buy 10,000 of these, and I've got to answer my boss. And if any one of those goes, what'd you buy them for? You're out. That's what they're buying for career safety rather than actually products. And I think it's a shame, but that's basically because I wanted to buy ridiculously rude cards. Okay. Even my mum, you can always do the test. I put it in front of my dad, and if he goes, oh my God, don't show your mother. Then I go, that's the one we're selling.
Yeah, that's the one that's going to make the most.
Yeah.
So we were talking about, you're in Tesco's, and obviously that is an impressive thing and something that you've used as an impressive thing, but didn't feel impressive.
No.
So how do you define success in your small businesses?
Lee not being homeless is a start. You know what I mean? We'll go with that. Otherwise he'd live in our front room, and Laura gets really annoyed with that. Oh, it's not wearing trousers again. It's awkward. I would say the thing is, when you're younger, you go, oh, I want the money, and that defines success. As you get a little bit, I was going to say wiser, but let's not be, that's a bit bold, isn't it?
It's older.
And with access to slightly more knowledge. I would say that actually recognition for what you do a little bit more is good, and despite the fact I haven't nailed it yet, but that life balance, or the ability to actually go, this is what I want to do. There was a time where you go, oh, I've got to have something, and the key thing is that I'm earning money from it. I'm actually now going, well, actually, I'm earning enough money, but I get the satisfaction out of making something that's going to make a slight difference or be interesting. It floats your boat. I haven't got the life balance to say, right, but I like the fact that the work I am doing, even though it might be a little bit too much of it, is all interesting. There's nothing worse than doing too much work with something you hate. At least I'm doing too much work with something I quite enjoy.
So why haven't you got that work-life balance sorted out?
Probably a little. I've never been diagnosed, but if you were to go ADHD, I've just got all this energy, and so I think when it's there, I just do it. I can't turn my brain off until there's nothing.
So haven't you got anything outside of work then that you can focus your attentions on that, which give you that work-life balance?
I mean, I play football a couple of times a week.
Do you play or try to?
I try and play football a couple of times
There
a
you
week.
go, that's better.
I'm getting to that age where you go, I would play this week, but my knee's playing up. It's awful. And it makes. I'm surprised you haven't heard it. It makes a clicking noise. So I do sport, but I literally fit sport in round work, and then go on holidays. But I don't have that. Well, I'm going to finish at 5 o'clock. Like Jo said, she starts at 9:30. Lazy.
Yeah.
We all for
I did
it.
think that.
We're all
I did
for
think
it.
that.
And at 5:30, I know you've said that there's a point where you go, why am I doing this? I haven't got that yet because I'm still going. No, got to get it on. But I think it's also, I suppose, because the business is still building, and yeah, I don't know. So no, I don't have that. I have a wife and a cat that I fit them in, and have a nice time, but I don't have that daily routine of start then, finish then, done. But it's all over the place. But I did have, when I was working in the radio previous, it was almost like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It was early start, but I didn't necessarily like that. So I quite like the work late some days, and then I like the variety of the hours sometimes.
Do you work weekends?
I try to avoid that where possible.
So you are trying to get a work-life balance then?
Well, having said that, I know for a fact that Wes is working this weekend.
Oh, really?
So
No, it was not this weekend. I was working last weekend, but that was I was doing the comparing.
You're not doing Bostock?
No, I'm not filming that now.
Oh, okay.
I'm going on holiday for a couple of days.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but last weekend I worked. I was doing, and again, this is like the interesting one. I was comparing for Chill Fest, which is a local music festival, and my Friday night, I was chatting with Morrissey, right, about the size of car parking spaces. I had a cup of tea with Robbie Williams and Whitney Houston. And Liam Gallagher gave me the football scores, which, when you go, it's weird, but it is fun. Yeah. So, I try not to work weekends where possible. But again, when it's there, you just go, yeah. And because I film a lot of events, that's when they are, you know what I mean? So, needs must and all that. So, yeah. So life balance. Haven't got it at all. Not even close. Not even close yet. But the good news is burnout's on the way, so I'll take 3 months off then.
Just chill out for a bit.
And how does that work when you're working for yourself?
What?
Because we've also discussed this, the taking time off.
I mean, my other half loves her holidays, and I love holidays as well. She books it all. I just turn up. I've turned up at the airport not knowing exactly which country we're going to, which is great. Leave her to it. But we go on some amazing holidays, and those, I suppose, are the times that I am off. But other than that, if I'm home, I'm sort of, unless Laura finds me some jobs around the house to do. That's why I work. I prefer work. Do you want to? I'd love to, but I've got loads of editing to do. And all of a sudden, that editing takes loads longer.
Yeah.
So I suppose. So I do that. They are the only breaks I get when I'm on.
Do you have to plan for that financially, being on your own?
Within business, I'm pretty good with money. I mean, I'm proper champagne. You can tell. This is a relatively new T-shirt. I only had it 6 years. It's lovely. I'm pretty lean with that. I live like a student. Or if I wasn't with Laura, right, I'd be a millionaire. I'm tight as. You know what I mean? And I just don't know, but I don't buy things. I don't find them of interest. I just don't have that sort of thing. But I'd squirrel it away. But that calms me down sometimes. It's not like a Scrooge McDuck or a Dave into my little pot of gold, any of that. But I just I've got that sorted. So I try and give myself about 4 or 5 months worth of oh shit money. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, if I needed it, I could probably survive that. And also, I'll do anything for money. You hear me? No, but so when I lost my gig on the radio, we were still doing the cards, but then they shut the shops. Before Red Rascal really got going, there wasn't enough money coming into the business to support both myself and Lee, and so Lee was better at doing that sort of stuff, so he did that, and I went off and did painting and decorating for about 9 months. My cutting in is belting, mate. Oh, you need to see. I look round here, flipping out, I'll do you a lovely price. But I did that, and I'll pick up anything. So I went from running a radio station that we were in the top 5% reach in the country for radio stations, for commercial radio stations. A week later, I was painting behind a toilet where a trucker had just taken a big old. I'm like, mighty fallen. I'll do anything for money. The pride thing doesn't worry me, which has served me well, because that calms me down as well. Because I know some people go, well, I work to this level. I've built up to this level. No, I don't give a monkeys. Yeah. Money's money, jobs are jobs, and work is what you need it to be. So that sort of calms me down as well a little bit.
So I think we've touched on this a little bit, but is there a particular thing that you do around kind of marketing your businesses or getting new business? I know we've just recorded with Jo, and she was talking a lot about how most of her stuff comes through word of mouth. So how is it that you kind of, do you work on new business, or does it just turn up at your door?
Is it new business here? With the cards, we used to do the trade shows, so that was a lot of new business. So we did the trade shows for many years, and soul destroying, but they were a necessity, and they got us some good ins and stuff like that. But then after COVID, we decided to try and do other things. So we did, after COVID, we did the Buddy Fernandez tour, which was, so basically what we did was we filled up my little Bedford Rascal, right? That's nearly a litre's worth of power under the hood there. And we drove around the whole country trying to visit our customers in a van from 1989. We got all the way down to Cornwall to Swansea, and basically we did a video. We filmed the whole lot. You can watch it on, I don't know where it is actually.
Add the link to the bottom of this video.
I'll add the link, yeah. And some of that's not family friendly either, just so we're aware. But it was a really good laugh. And yeah, we made it down to Cornwall, through to Swansea, and it blew up in Cheltenham. The van blew up. So we had to hire a car. Then we carried on, went to Glasgow, Edinburgh, right the way round down Essex. We flew to Jersey for the day, and we filmed a lot over about 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. And that was a piece of marketing. And actually, again, going back to what Jo was saying, I think that there's just different ways of doing it, and people loved it. They were literally, and we were filming and editing in the same day, and it was up for the next, it was like a series that went on. And we were getting people going, every morning get up, watch my Buddy Fernandez to find out what you idiots have been up to, what's gone wrong. And they love it. But that was, what I liked about that is a unique piece of marketing. Other card companies, we had other card companies, that was brilliant, we would never do that. And they're the bits I like, because we can send out the newsletters every week, and they're very, very nice, and they're great, it's fine. It's what we do. And we put up things on social media, just like we're supposed to, like every expert will tell you to do. But actually, coming up with something a little bit different, a little bit unique is quite nice. We do the regular things, but the tour was a killer. I had to buy a new engine. And we worked out afterwards, and went, was it cheaper than the trade shows? And it was, until I factored in an engine for a van.
Yeah. That's gonna.
Yeah, that was
because that's what I was going to say. That was the whole premise of it when you started, was that rather than spend the money on this trade show, we're going to spend the money on this tour of the country.
Yeah.
So minus the new engine, had the van held up,
it would have been all right.
It would have done exactly what it said on the tin.
Pascal the Rascal let us down.
Yeah.
It was. But yeah, so do that with the digital stuff. That's literal word of mouth. But what I did find, funny you mentioned it, Buzzstock was a music festival in Leighton Buzzard, and I filmed that for free because I wanted some footage of events. I hadn't done much event work, and I wanted to, so I went along, filmed for the whole weekend, edited for them. Did one of the sort of things that is a little bit of a USP for us is we'll film and edit in the same day, because some of the time you've got a 2-day festival, and you'll get some companies that will film, and then they'll give you the edit 3 days later. You go, well, it's irrelevant. Actually, it's the speed. So what we would do is I filmed on the first day, didn't edit overnight, because I love working nights, didn't edit overnight so they could put it up the next day to go, we're here, this is the first day, come to the second day. It's smarter piece of marketing for them. So I did that for free, and that led on to things, you know what I mean? So, and once you got in with a couple of people, they go, they're good. And just try and make yourself easy to work with, be reliable, be nice, be affordable. I know some people come in and go, that's how much it's going to be. And by the way, I drive a Rolls Royce, and this is the reason. Whereas I go, look, this is what I think is a fair price. This is my time.
Because I've already got a Rolls Royce.
Have you?
No, you.
Oh,
Hey!
oh no, it's. I mean, I call it a Rolls Royce. You know what I mean? Red Rascal. But I think so. In reference to that, the cards are a different thing. Driving new business it's a very different industry. Within this, you just got to be mostly referrals, but you try. And again, one of the previous you talk about networking events. I struggle because I'll go, oh, hey, let's go, I'm like a puppy. All new people, let's chat. And then at the end, I go, I didn't even tell them what I did.
Yeah.
I was talking about my life for half an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was really interesting. So I was actually in the other room listening to the thing with Joe, because one of the things that Joe was saying about the networking was that she finds it more beneficial that she's actually sort of finding people who are kind of like industry adjacent that she then would work with for certain things.
Yeah.
And I think that is very much how I kind of approach networking now, is that I'm not looking for business. What I'm looking for is, if I ever needed XYZ, could I go to this person? And then you hope that, the hope is, and actually it has played out, that then people are like, oh, Laura, she runs Move and they do this and that's what I need. And then they will get in touch and be like, oh, actually I've got a client and I'd really like to refer someone that I know, and, can we have a chat about that?
The referral thing, I find it's where it is a little bit more organic, where you just make him, we sort of become mate, friend, and that's great. That's the way to do it. And because ultimately you've got to work with these people. So
No,
got to work with these people.
We're so easy to work with as well.
We're a delight.
You are a delight.
Right, so Ben, who is sadly not with us, but he has given us the gift of...
Well, he's still with us, but he's not.
Oh,
The way you said that.
I didn't even know.
Gone already.
When was the
Sorry.
week?
Passed away from one episode.
I miss him. I
let's-
don't know about you guys. I miss him. I miss his hat.
I miss his sunburn.
I miss
I miss the ring of sunburn on his forehead.
Right, Ben is not dead.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Ben is alive.
Ben.
Oh dear.
Ben?
He's just not joining us
Yeah.
to host this
No,
episode.
no.
Let's try
He's
it
alive!
again. Yay! Okay, cool. Well, I think he has left us with his funny questions to
Lovely.
finish with.
It's not
Of
his
which-
questions. They're artificial intelligence questions.
Yeah.
Which is what I said they were his questions, because
Yeah.
I knew you complain.
No.
But I think we've answered the first one, but I'll ask you this one as well. But what's the most unexpected or hilarious moment you've experienced while running your business?
There's so many, because you're in different business, you just can't. But the trade shows, despite the fact I'm moaning about, they were funny. They were real, because we always had no money. So we'd stayed at some of the cheapest places ever. We stayed in a crack den in Birmingham, I swear. It was amazing. We're like, we really staying here, mate? Yeah, this is what we could afford. And they were always hilarious. But I remember this one time, it always sticks in my mind. So we have a card that just says Bell End on it, and that's it. That's all it says. And so you'd be there with all these cards around you that say naughty things. And yeah, there's customers come, hey! And then you get this sweet old couple that walk past, and you've got these things. And it's like you're explaining to her. And one of this sweet old lady was walking past where other half and went, Bell End, what's Bell End? And she went, excuse me, what's a Bell End? Asking Lee. And I'm going, yeah, go on, tell the nice lady what a Bell End is. You tell the nice lady, just seeing him go, Grr. So but we had loads of stuff like that. And we used to do our stock takes were always great. So I don't know how much we're about to say. Our stock. So when we used to stock the cards, because we run the cards very differently now. I probably should have said that. That we don't. There was no stock of cards at all until you order a card, or whether it be one card or 10,000 cards. They don't exist. We're really dying. We've become quite an eco-friendly company accidentally, because we don't want. So we do it digitally printed. But there was a time before where we used to have a stock of cards, and he'd be in his front room where the cards were, and we go, and I'd be writing him down. He goes, got 10 fannies left. We've got a card that says, I've seen your fanny for Valentine's. That's nice. I've got 10 fannies left. 6 blowjobs. Yeah, we've got that. But our stock takes, and Sarah is over half of the time. She's just like, oh, what am I hearing this? Oh yeah, 16 bell ends. And the neighbours upstairs. What the?
Yeah, what's going on?
So
down
that sort of stuff, I suppose. Maybe.
Excellent. Good. So if you could have a famous entrepreneur as your business mentor for the day, who would it be and why?
I've got no idea. No, because I know that some of them are brilliant at what they do, but I love doing it our way. I don't want to do it another way, and we will listen to advice from other people, but ultimately everybody is different within their situation, within themselves, how they want to work, and one person's success is another person's failure. So I think the problem with any of the people that go, well, I'm a business expert, and I've met business experts that I go, I think you're talking crap. And I've met people that don't really know they're business experts, and I go, you're profound, some of the stuff, you blow my mind. And so I don't really have a business person that I would sort of go, I just like the people that are really real about what they do, and they just believe in what they do, and they just follow it, and they go their own way. They're the ones that I really love. And I think it's the humble ones as well, the humble business people. I remember, again, another trade show story, where there was an old boy, and I met him, and they had like the lanyard, and we went, I can't even remember the name of the car company. It was like, Richard, CEO. I was like, oh, you're CEO of a company? He went, yeah. I said, how many people you got? Me. So you're a CEO of you. That's what the... Yeah. But it was important to let everybody know I'm a CEO. Whereas we used to make up names for it. I was Rusty Lee one time. We walk around, and he was Tits McGee. And I was crayon operator number 1, because I don't buy into all that stuff. I think if you do it in your own way and you do it with a smile and have a laugh, actually that you're going to be as successful. If you listen to a business expert do it exactly like that, you go, it probably won't work for me. So that was a long story.
Brilliant.
And so final question, what's the quirkiest customer request or feedback you've ever received?
That can't be true. We can't ask him that question, because obviously their cards.
No, absolutely. So that's going to go on for a while. I can't
answer that. All I can say is that there's a sex shop in London called Prowler, and they used to buy our cards.
I don't know it.
Right. And there was a picture of a guy that just like you. Oh. Right. Actually, we did have a card that just said "white clean fun." That was anyway. But Prowler used to come to the trade shows, and they would come with a rude phrase. Now I can't say those. That's even. I wouldn't. It's a family show. And they used to go, write us a card round that. And so what we do is we literally go away that night, have a few beers and write down and come back the next day with designs. And so some of the stuff that we wrote, and our challenge was, because there was no line. You meet some people go, well, they go a bit over the line. They hadn't heard of the line. They couldn't spell line. There was no line.
Was no boundary.
And it was a pure joy to see him go, no, yes, because we got that far. And some of the stuff but the trouble is, we have to remember that we're in the pub, we think it's hilarious, right? And there's other people that go, oh my God. But you always get loads of room, I find. And that's for some reason. So I couldn't say the weirdest customer request, because
I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, would put up.
I said that was the final question, but now I suddenly realise there's a question missing, which I overheard, which is, if your business, any one of your businesses, or you as a business owner, had a theme song, what would it be?
This would be interesting.
It's got to be the Benny Hill theme, isn't it?
Yeah. It was going to be something along those lines.
Because actually, we're all just making it up. Anybody goes, well, I'm like a, I remember you said, I'm like a duck. You would say, what animal would you be?
Elegant on the top.
Elegant on the top. I can't even be bothered to be elegant. It's just like that the whole time. No, I think that's as stupid, because it is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everything that we seem to do, whether it be the cards, whether it be the film, it's just all but quite like that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Been fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Wes.
Yeah, this is why I'm behind the camera. Probably it's best.
And have fun, given all the complaining you do about my voice, have fun editing your own voice.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's going to be a classic, that is. I bet you this one takes about 4 weeks longer to edit than the other
by the time I'm finished, I'm going to look more handsome. Soft line. Ooh, and every time I come on, he's a dream weaver. It's going to be beautiful.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining us again on Living the Small Business Life. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you know about the next episode first.